And we're back for another episode of Friend Fusion. Hey friend, I'm Trinity Mitchell, better known as your friend Trin, and I'm so excited about this conversation with my good friend Kenya Parks. Listen, today we're going to talk about sexual assault. I know that so many of you have dealt with it. Too many of us can relate to it, and it's very unfortunate. But whether you're on your healing journey, whether you're trying to figure out if it's worth addressing, or if you're just trying to find the power to make it through, to get to the other side of it, I want you to know this episode of Friend Fusion is for you. We have tools to implement into your daily life that will make your healing journey not just possible, but we're going to cement it. Stay tuned for this episode of Friend Fusion.
Friend Fusion.
Friend Fusion. Marker and action.
Hey friends, welcome to this episode of Friend Fusion. I'm Trinity Mitchell, better known as your friend Trin. And like every other episode, I'm so excited about this one because listen friend, we in Mississippi again. And I brought with me a renowned woman right here from the same state, but not the same city. She's actually from Marks, Mississippi, but my heart is so full. I feel so honored. I feel so blessed to sit with businesswoman, CEO, author, man, you want me to keep going? I don't know. Listen, the woman is absolutely amazing, and I wanted to present to some and introduce to others to the set of Friend Fusion, Kenya Parks. Say hey, friends.
Hey, friends. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here.
Yes.
This is amazing. I'm so glad to have. First of all, you're so beautiful, Kenya. I always tell you. Do I overtell you?
No.
You should look like that, girl. Because listen, so beautiful. But it's not even just the aesthetic. It's you, like your spirit.
Thank you.
It's just so beautiful, and it makes out your natural, your physical beauty just heightens to me.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I feel so honored to sit with you. You're probably one of the most, in terms of spirit, one of the most beautiful spirited people that I know.
Thank you.
I don't know if as many encounters I've had with you, I've never seen you with an eyebrow up or eyebrow down. You're always smiling. You're always welcoming. You're always confident. How have you been able to become that Kenya?
And you know what's funny is I wrote a book, and the acronym of the book is SCARS.
Mm-hmm.
And it stands for Strengthen Your Confidence and Recover Successfully,
Mm.
because I hadn't always been this Kenya.
Mm.
And you know, one of the hardest things for me to do is receive a compliment.
Mm.
You know, because for so long when I looked in the mirror, I didn't see what people saw.
Yeah.
And when I was out in public and people would tell me that I was beautiful or whatever, I didn't know how to receive it. I didn't know how to say thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my girlfriends the other day, she said, Kenya, just say thank you.
Mm.
But it's so hard to say thank you to something I didn't believe myself.
Mm-hmm.
I had to grow to this person.
Yeah.
I had to get to the point in my life that I saw myself the way God saw me.
Mm-hmm.
I had to learn how to love myself through his eyes. And I thought because of the hell that I had brought in my life and others had brought in my life, that I wasn't worthy.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't that confident person. But when God showed me he could love me right where I was,
Mm-hmm.
it did something different for me. It gave me a different confidence.
Yeah.
And no matter what others thought of me, you know, it was something different that was restored within me.
Yeah. Given your experiences, and we're going to talk about sexual abuse today, guys. And Kenya is a survivor of sexual assault. And with unpacking such a sensitive topic, so many women have gone
Mhm.
through this. By the grace of God, I have not. Um, but I think about how, when I think about confidence, right? I think about how my dad being extremely protective over
Mhm.
me, my mama being crazy. I was so sheltered, like extremely sheltered. When I think about how even my dad was even really protective with me in the house. Like he would call out, Shay is getting dressed in the bathroom, because we was a 3-bed, 2-bed, but it's 8 kids.
Mhm.
So, and I'm the only girl.
Yes.
So my daddy's like, when my daughter's in that bathroom, I don't want nobody up here in this area. I don't play with. He was like that. I'm like, Daddy, why you always? I don't know what he experienced in his own childhood
Yes.
that made him threaten my brothers not to come near me. If I'm like, don't even walk. He was so serious about protecting me, and he taught them to be the same way with me. My mom is the same. So my mom would always call me Miss America. So I grew up feeling very beautiful. I grew up feeling very confident, and I'm the only girl, so this is. I'm just pointing my finger, do this, do that, do that. Because if you don't, you're gonna get in trouble. Yeah,
Yes.
you're gonna get in trouble. So, given some of your experiences to lead to this confident woman that sits before me, tell me how that shaped who you are.
So for me, I was sexually assaulted at 8 years old by a family member, actually my father's brother. And my parents divorced when I was really young. And the situation that happened with me it was different because on the weekends, my father would get us. But my father had to work or he did different things. So my father would drop us off with his sister. And that was one of the people within our village that my mother trusted, and we would be over there, we would play and just have fun and do whatever. But going through that and experience something like that at a young age, I grew up not feeling worthy. I grew up questioning why me, because I wasn't the only young girl that was out there at that time. So why did you choose me? I wrote a poem. Why didn't you choose my sister or my friend from across the street? I questioned God because, like, God, why did you allow this to happen to me? And my mother had me at 16, so I was always in the church, with my grandparents and different things like that. And it was just like, growing up, my mother had me at 16, so my mother was so hard on us. And when you say that, everybody was protective and all of these things, my mother was the same way. She didn't want us to make the same mistakes that she had made. So my mother was always like there and always, you don't come home with a C, your grades had to be as such. And we were always involved in a lot. My mother didn't allow me to sink into that depression that I think I tried to go into as a young girl. My mother didn't see or understand what was going on with me, but she didn't lose me. She had her finger on the pulse of everything that was going on with me. So when I account the woman that I am and the confidence that I was still able to maintain after going through all of that, I attest all of that to my mother and who she was in my life. And how, even though she had to work 3 jobs because, our father wasn't there and she was raising 3 kids on her own, she still had her finger on the pulse of everything that we were doing. And I was involved. I started a youth credit union, when I was in junior high school, became the president. I got to travel the world by the time, I had graduated high school. Most kids were going to prom. I'm in Washington, D.C. or in Maryland, teaching other children how to start youth credit unions.
Wow.
So, my mom had us involved in so much that
That's
I
amazing.
didn't have time to sink into that.
Yeah.
My psychiatrist told me that I suppressed everything out of my memory because I was made to feel that what happened to me was my fault because I was told not to tell anyone. She said, so I suppressed it and it came back 10 years later. So as I grew up, I didn't really deal with it because didn't anybody know?
Yeah. Yeah. Can you speak to me about the moment you were told not to tell anybody?
When I think back over that story, I think my aunt looking me in my eyes and telling me not to tell anyone, especially not my parents, because they would be mad at me for being fast. She took more away from me than my uncle ever could because she silenced me. She took my voice and she made me feel like something so devastating that had happened to me was my fault. And I think for so long, I thought I had done something wrong to deserve that to happen to me. And that moment took so much away from me because there were other things I think growing up that I wanted to share or I wanted to tell my parents and I didn't because I didn't want them to be mad at me. I think I lived my life wanting the approval of my mother because I felt like my mother sacrificed so much for me because she had me at the age of 16.
Right.
And so when you're silenced and you're told not to tell something like that, what are you supposed to tell?
Yeah. Did you ever get a chance to ask her about why she told you that?
Well, when I decided to tell my truth and finally share my story after 10 years, and my mother confronted her about everything that had happened and why. My mother wanted to know why. And we were at my grandmother's house, and I'll never forget my mother breaking down to her knees crying. Like, why would you tell her not to say anything?
A
And
lot of pain.
it was a lot of pain.
Yeah.
But for the first time ever, I felt like somebody carried my pain because I had carried it for so long by myself. And it was a relief for someone else to carry that with me. But my mother wanted to know why. Why would you tell her not to say anything to me? And my aunt cried out and she said, I didn't want to lose my brother. She said, I didn't want my brother to go to jail. But in that moment, for me, you didn't think about me. You didn't think what that situation had done to me, what it took away from me, how it destroyed me. She didn't think about any of those things. And after I wrote my book, Coming Back to Me, My Journey from Pain to Purpose, and it shared my truth. And for so long, I didn't tell people that it was my uncle that had done that to me. I would say a family friend. I didn't expose that part of my story. And I remember being somewhere speaking and someone in the audience say, why won't you say his name? And I didn't realize that I was still covering. I was still afraid to say his name. I was still afraid to tell people who it really was. And in that moment, for the first time, I said it.
Yeah. What was that like for you? Was it freeing?
It was freeing in a way that people wouldn't even begin to imagine. Because what I realized is I was still covering it up. I was still covering it up, but because I was told that it was my fault. So I was still covering, there were still layers of it that I still had to unfold. But as far as she is concerned, the relationship was very much torn. My mother and her were really close, and they didn't speak anymore. And she kind of ostracized herself away from us, and every now and again I'll get a text to say Happy Mother's Day or something like that. But what I had to learn was I'm charged to love you.
Yeah.
I don't have to do life with you. And that's what I had to realize, because not only did you cover up what happened to me, it happened to other people as well. And some of the family knew. So if this is who you are, I don't have to change you, but I don't have to do life with you.
Yeah.
I love her with everything in me, but I don't have to do life with you.
Yeah. So given that experience and with you exposing that it was actually your uncle saying his name, how did that actually affect? Did he have children? Did he have a wife? How did that affect all of that?
And you know what? You're the first person to ever ask me that question. And he did. He has a son. And his son didn't know my story because his son wasn't involved in his father's life. His son didn't learn my story until his father got sick, and he moved his father in with him. And there were some other things that came about, and I won't share because it's not my place. But he was told, do you know what happened to Kenya? And he reached out to me through Facebook Messenger because we didn't really have a relationship. And he wanted to know, what did my father do to you? And I found out that something has transpired there to make him ask that question. And he cried. He said, Kenya, why didn't anybody tell me this? Why didn't I know? And I sent him a copy of my book, and we talked through Messenger.
Yeah.
And it was hard, but I think God allowed things to happen the way that it did for a reason. I truly do.
Yeah.
But that was his only child, and he really just found out right before his father passed a couple years ago.
Your mom's brother passed away?
No, this is my father's brother.
Your father's brother passed away?
A couple years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, so even in that, even in him getting sick and him dying, and I remember, finding out that he had passed, and there were family members that were upset because my sister, my brother, and we all chose not to attend the funeral. why?
Yeah. Why?
You know,
Right.
why?
Yeah.
Why do we have to be there? Why, we can forgive you, but I don't have to see this part of life. I don't have to do this.
Yeah.
But then what I also found in that part of my life was, I had an aunt one time that made the statement, why won't she just let it go?
Wow.
That's easy for you to say because it didn't happen to you or it didn't happen to your child. So the pain that we're feeling over here, you wouldn't understand it. But to me, that was so selfish. It hurt
Mm-hmm.
in a way that she don't even know because I never even spoke to her about it. But what God was showing me in that season of my life is there are people that are for you. And people really show you how they feel when they speak certain things out of their mouth.
The scriptures tell us that out of the
Yes.
abundance of the heart,
Out of the abundance of their
the
heart.
mouth speaks.
Yes.
And I do think there's Luke 6:45, the 7th chapter, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think I need to find my Bible, but I think that's right. Out of the abundance of the mouth,
Mm-hmm.
the heart speaks. And I think that's Luke 6:45. I think that's right. Yeah, yeah. I did. I said it backwards. Thank you. Um, I've had to learn that too because sometimes when people are speaking, you
Mhm.
think there's no malicious intent,
Mm-hmm.
or you think that it's not that deep, or they don't mean anything by that. But if you just really honor what that scripture is saying,
Yes.
you will always know how people truly
Truly
feel
feel.
about you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. And a lot of times, even when I decided to share my videos throughout the month of April this year, sharing my story, I don't do that for me.
Mm,
I do it because I want to be a voice for the voiceless. I do that because so many people along the way have told me, Kenya, your story is my story too. On TikTok, that video got over 100,000 views.
mm-hmm.
You wouldn't believe how many people reached out, inbox, sharing their story, wanting to know, like just saying to me that, with the conviction that you shared your story shows me that I can heal past what I went through,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't do it for me. In the beginning, it was a part of my healing process when I would share, but now it's for so many others that need to know that, baby, if God can bring me through the hell and devastation that He brought me from, He can do the same for you.
Absolutely.
And that's the reason that I share my story. So when the family members that don't understand or they make their comments or, they look or do whatever, you know what I do?
Mm-hmm.
I just keep operating in excellence.
Yeah.
I keep operating in excellence. I don't confront it. I don't have anything to say. I just keep doing what I do.
That's a word for me today, Kenya.
Mm-hmm.
You better speak to my spirit on today, Kenya. You just keep operating
I
in
keep
excellence.
operating in excellence because I know God has shown me that what I do is not about me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the reason I keep going.
Yeah.
Because it's not about me.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so good. That's so good. What role did faith, therapy, and even community play in your healing journey? Healing journey, I'm sorry.
So many people, because of who I was, class president or, traveling with the Youth Credit Union as a young girl and all of these different things. When I did share my story, people said, we didn't know that happened to you.
Mm-hmm.
Because you were this person and you were that person, because my mother wouldn't accept anything less. But growing up as a young girl in the church, faith and knowing who God was so important for me. And when you say, like, I grew up broken, but baby, when I got to know who I was through God, it revalidated everything within me. It changed something within me. My faith, I did an interview and the lady asked me, she said, Kenya, what is your favorite scripture? And my favorite scripture is, for God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son.
That's it.
And they said, well, there's so many other scriptures that reaffirms and so many things. But you know what that scripture did for me?
Yeah.
My son, when he was younger, my son came in my room and he told me, he said, Kenya, he said, Mama, I need you to pick me up from school at 5 o'clock. I was half asleep.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to the school to pick my son up and there wasn't a car in the parking lot. And I got in my car and I drove back home and I'm running through the house. Jabari, are you here? Thinking he probably had caught a ride with another parent. And as I begin to drive back to the school, I'm in the car and I'm crying. I'm like, God, where's my child? And I get back to the school. Girls, a line of parents and cars are everywhere.
Mm.
And I said, Jabari, you told me to be here at the school to pick you up at 5. He said, no, Mom, I told you that practice would be over at 6:30. You were asleep. You didn't hear me. And as my son and I began to drive back to the house, I'm still crying. And I had to pull over to the side of the road. And it was like in that moment, God said, I gave you my only son. And you can't go without yours for an hour and you're about to lose your mind. Could I love somebody that much that I'm willing to give my only son?
Wow.
I couldn't. But for somebody to do that for me, the love I have for God is so real.
Yeah.
It's so real. And I tell people that all the time. In that scripture, it humbles me. That scripture reaffirms me. That scripture shows me that it's not about me.
Yeah.
And when I serve him, it's greater than me. So faith was everything. And then when I seeked out a therapist, it's so amazing how God works, because I grew up in a family that said, you know, that you crazy. I remember telling my mother that I had gotten me a psychiatrist, and she said, Kenya Parks, what's wrong with you? You're not crazy.
Your whole name, Kenya Parks.
Kenya Parks. But Marty was everything to me. And she still is. And what's so amazing about her, I remember one day.
Marty is your psychiatrist.
She
name.
is.
Okay.
And she said, Kenya, I just want to pray with you today. And she began to pray for me. And she began to speak over my life. And you know what? It was God. It was nothing but God.
So you're saying to me that God met you in therapy.
But God met me in therapy.
Wow.
All these years later, and I still go. But God met me right there, because I didn't seek her out for myself, but I knew I needed somebody. And all I wanted was somebody after God's own heart. Because so often people tell me that they go to therapy and people put them on anxiety medicine. They do all of these things to them. She didn't do that. She said, baby, you're a woman of God. And she said, I'm a woman of God, and I want to meet you exactly where you are. And that's exactly what she did for me.
Yeah.
And so no matter what phase or what season of my life I'm going through, right now I'm going through a season of letting go, because I feel like I have to be, if my hands are not on it, it's not going to go right. Even in the work or even in my home. But, you know, as God began to elevate you in your career and he began to elevate you in your life, you can't do everything by yourself. But when I start to delegate and let go of things, they don't go the way that I think that they should. But that's my job, to reaffirm and teach and develop. But I feel like I got to have my hands on everything. But I'm learning to let go so God can elevate me to the next level that he's trying to take me through. And I'm going through that season of my life with her. She's walking me through that season of my life. Somebody that just can meet you exactly where you are.
Yeah.
That means everything to me. Yes.
I want to I want to speak to the moment where the relative said, you need to let it go. When you said you were in a season of letting go, it made me think about it again. It's very unfortunate that people who do not experience some of the unfortunate things that we experience, some of the traumatic things that we experience, some of the disappointments and mishaps and things that we experience as people. It's so unfortunate when we have people who feel like we should just let it go. And I think it's interesting how me standing up for myself, me being free to share what's happened to me is being healing for me. How you presume this is me getting someone back when it's really just me getting free. I'm not talking about it to get them back. I'm talking about it to get me free and others free. Why do you think that is?
Because when people don't understand, so often we attack what we don't understand. And writing a book and me speaking, and people feel like my pain, because that's my pain. And people didn't understand what I was going through. They didn't understand what I was going through, but I was being obedient to God.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that I had to learn was that I had to be obedient to what he had called me to do. Do you know there were so many times that April would come and people would ask me to share my story, and I said, this year I'm not doing that. I remember speaking with my best friend April, and I said, you know what, this year I'm not doing any speaking engagements. I don't want to be pulled down that road. But then God said, this not about you.
You had to remember.
I had to remember this is greater than you. But people attack what they don't understand. People attack what they can't feel. And so many times people felt like, oh, she got a book and she's speaking and she's doing this, that I'm being rewarded. I'm not being rewarded. It's not a reward.
Yeah.
And then family. So let's talk about family, because we have to break down that. People don't want their family secrets exposed. People don't want their family secrets exposed, because by me exposing my truth, I found out that the same thing had happened to my mother at a younger age. So my mother couldn't see the torment that I was dealing with because of everything she hadn't dealt with, what she had gone through as a child. God was breaking down generational curses.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I promised God is going to stop with me, because I will not be quiet. So the chatter and the noise from people saying, I wish she would let it go, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay, because you know what has happened down the line in our family. Why would you want me to let it go?
Right. So it can continue.
So that it could continue.
Right.
It's time for somebody to speak out and stop sweeping things under the rug.
Absolutely.
I didn't know about what had gone on with my mother. I didn't know about other things that had gone on until I exposed my truth, and my grandmother and different people began to share things with me.
Yeah.
So it has to stop at some point. So when I hear that chatter, or I hear what people have to say, or the negative things, baby, I don't focus on them. I focus on God.
Yeah.
I don't focus on them.
To the adults who may be watching, who don't feel like it's wrong to protect the adults who commit such crimes, because it's
It's a
a
crime.
crime.
It's a crime.
Right? Who feel it necessary to protect the adults and not the children? Can you express to me how that actually affected you as a child?
I didn't know who to love. I didn't know I didn't know how to receive love, because somebody within my village that was supposed to protect me took something so precious away from me. So how do I learn love? When the people that, your family, your uncle, these were the people that were supposed to protect me. My aunt, she was somebody that I thought loved me, but you can't love me and cover up something like that. You can't love me and violate me in such a way. So I confused love. I didn't know what love was. I didn't know what love was. And so before somebody could hurt me in that way again, sex, it meant absolutely nothing to me. It meant absolutely nothing to me. Because before a man could ever take something like that away from me, I would give it up. So when you're protecting the monsters of the world, you're destroying the child.
Right.
You're destroying the child. Because what you did was you took my voice and you gave it back to the man that hurt me.
Right.
And you validated him. You made him feel like what he did was okay.
Yeah.
And you never came back to nurture my wounds, to check on me, to make sure that I was okay.
Yeah.
So what you did for me was, you could have created a monster, but you didn't, because God had his hands on me the entire time. And there were things that I did, and there were so many instances in my life that I don't wish that I could go back and change anything, because I don't have any regrets, because I know that everything that happened in my life, God had a reason for it.
Yeah.
But my life was going down a road of destruction. And I can sit so many times and I can sit here and think that even though my grandmother didn't know anything about what happened to me, I had a praying grandmother. I had a grandmother that knew God. And my aunts oftentimes tell these stories about my grandmother and how she was in the street, but that's not the grandmother that I knew. See, my grandmother, I sat right beside her in church every Sunday, and I listened to my grandfather and others preach, and we were there on Wednesdays and Sundays. My grandmother knew God. And every time I got to that low place in my life, all I thought about was my grandmother. All I thought about was her. I'm her oldest grandchild. And I was there with her so many times, but just thinking about her is what got me through some of the hardest times in my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when you silence a child and when you protect the predator, you have no clue what you're doing to that child, even when it's not seen, even when you don't think, because you don't know. My mother will always tell us so often that I'm your mother, I'm not your friend. But when we create those type of dynamics within households, what you're doing is you're telling your child, I'm your mama.
I'm not safe to talk to.
I'm not safe for you to talk to. So like with my son and I talk about everything.
Yeah.
Everything. My son lay in my bed. We conversate. We talk about everything. We talk about what he's dealing with his girlfriend. We talk about he's about to get an apartment. One of his roommates was going to be a girl and his girlfriend had a problem with that. We talk about everything. But as a young girl growing up, I didn't have those conversations with my mother. Now as an adult, we talk about everything. But as a child, my mother was trying to protect us.
Yeah.
My mother had me at 16. So I understand the why.
Yeah.
I understand the why. But at 16, you're learning how to be she was a child.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
So when I tell people so often that I lived my life because I wanted to make my mother proud. I wanted to show my mother that everything that you sacrificed, you getting pregnant and getting kicked out of the house, everything that you endured, my life, I want to live my life to say thank you. Because you could have made another decision.
Yeah, she could have.
You could have made another decision, but you didn't. You stood there through everything that I went through. You were right there and she's still right there in my life. And my mother could have done so many different things, but she didn't. So I live my life to say, Mom, thank you.
Yeah.
Mama, you couldn't go to college at the time. You wanted to go to college, but I'm going to graduate for you.
So beautiful.
Mom, you wanted to write books. My mother can write so beautiful. I've written 6. My mama do this for you. Mama, you could have managed any business. You could have done anything. I'm going to become a CEO for you. This is my way to say thank you because you didn't have to make the sacrifices you did for me. And I thank God that my mother did the things she did for me. She made the sacrifices she made for me. And I think so often in my story, and as I sit here and I'm speaking now, I don't think I've ever said thank you. But I tried to live my life in a way that it gave her glory.
Yeah.
That she could be proud to say that Kenya Parks is my daughter. And somebody asked me one time, you're not mad at your mom? Mad at her for what?
Right.
She didn't know. So I can't protect or help you heal from what I don't know.
Right.
We said we weren't going to do this.
And we're doing it. You gotta. As a woman who is in her 40s, who's never been married, how has your journey with trust in men influenced the way you view relationship, both romantically and even platonically?
The last relationship that I got out of, it's so funny. He was an amazing man of God. He truly was. And I never forget, we were at my home and this man looked at me with tears coming down his face and said, why won't you let me love you? I just want to love you. And in that moment, I realized that I couldn't let him love me because I didn't feel worthy of his love. I didn't know how to receive it.
How long ago was this?
Maybe not even 2 years ago. But I didn't know how to receive his love. I was so broken that I was trying to heal every other aspect of my life that I didn't realize that this area of my life was so messed up. So whenever a man would get close to me to the point that he saw my brokenness, I would ghost him. I would leave. I wouldn't stay there because I didn't want them to see that part of me.
Yeah.
But as long as they saw that professional Kenya that was handling herself and taking care of her son and doing, things like she was supposed to. But when it got to that point that he got to know that Kenya, that
Who you really are.
who I'm really, when he got to see the issues under the tissue, I didn't want them to see that.
Yeah.
But I didn't want them to see that because there were so many parts of me that still wasn't healed. And there was a part of me still operating in that state of not feeling worthy.
Yeah.
So we stopped talking. We actually broke up and got back together and tried it again. But when we came back together, he had his guards up at a point where I had let my guards down.
Yeah.
We're friends now and we're able to talk about all of these things. And, I sit with girlfriends and I invite people.
Can you call him back?
Call him back for what?
Is that too late? I feel like he might be hitting on something.
We're
Hmm.
friends, and I think, God allow us to go through those seasons for a reason. And I think he came in my life for me to see that I needed to heal that area of my life.
That's really good. I'm glad you said that because sometimes, especially as single women,
Hmm.
I feel like women, we do a really good job at making a man our husband
Hmm.
because he has those good
Oh,
qualities.
yes.
He just gets it. Like it's hard to find a man in this day and age
Yes.
who just gets it. But just because he's a good person doesn't mean he's good for
For
you.
you.
And sometimes God will allow people in our lives to expose us to the things that we need to be exposed to.
Yes.
Because I'm sure before even that relationship, there were some things you just had not seen of yourself, but he became a mirror
Yes.
for you.
And he didn't mind. He was very transparent. He didn't mind not putting them in my face in a negative way,
Yeah.
but allowing me to see me.
Mhm.
Kenya, you're operating in excellence over here. You're doing this, you're doing that. And he always reaffirmed me. But then he said, Kenya, when you're over here.
Yeah.
And what he showed me was that I could go out there into the world and put on this mask. And I could help everybody get through everything that they were dealing with. I could take managers from nothing to being GMs of a restaurant.
Mhm.
I could do all of these things out there. But who was filling my cup?
Mm.
And that exposed so much because I had to begin to see my circle. Because so often when we as women we get friends, what type of friends do we want?
Let's talk about it, Kenya. This is Friend Fusion.
Yes.
Yeah.
What type of friends? And that relationship taught me that my circle wasn't a circle that I needed at that. I didn't I needed more than what my circle was giving me.
Mm.
I was the praying friend. I was the friend that my girlfriends called and they needed somebody to pray for. I was the friend that was called when, girl, I need some help. Can I get through this? Or what you think about this? But who did I call
Mm.
when I needed somebody? And I didn't have those people in my life. I was giving and giving and giving, but my cup was empty. And I needed people to come in my life and help me see me. And everybody told me I was the strong friend. I'm that strong friend.
Mhm.
And everybody always looked at me and say, oh, girl, she got it together. Oh, she's straight. She got the house, she got the car, she got this. But we're looking at that outer shell.
Mhm.
My beautician was doing my hair today. And you know what she said to me? She said, Kenya, I asked two people before you got here. She said, girl, I tried to cut the back of my hair down myself. And she said, nah, I'm going to wait till Kenya get here because Kenya going to tell me the truth. I'm that friend.
Right. Right.
I'm that friend that's going to tell you, I don't want to hear you telling me about this boyfriend that you keep going through the same things over and over again with. Because if you stay, you're staying for a reason. That's me. But I needed a me in my life.
Yeah. And a lot of people need a them in their lives.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
What have you done? I'm
go,
sorry.
oh, you're fine.
What have you done to get more good friends like you in your life?
I had to let go of some of the ones that were there.
So you made room for the
I
good
made
friends.
room for the good friends
Mm.
because I had so many people that were attached to me for what I could do for them.
Mm.
So I had to make room to allow the right people to come in my life and love me and meet me where I was, that wasn't pulling on me from every angle. My best friend right now, I went through surgery in April and my mother was sick. I went through surgery in January and my mother was sick. And my mother's who I call. Mama, I'm about to go through all of this. And my mama, okay, baby, I'm on my way.
Mm-hmm.
But my mama was sick. So who do I call? My girlfriend came and laid in the bed with me. She took care of me. She bathed me. She nursed me back to health. She prayed over me.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I needed. That's what friends are supposed to do.
Yeah.
She didn't say, hey, Kenya, when you get up, girl, let's go to the club. Let's go do this. I'm past that club. And babe, I'm 43, about to be 44 years old.
Yeah.
But she was there for me. I got another girlfriend that we do Her Perspective podcast together. I didn't know how much I needed her in my life until she wasn't there.
Mm.
I needed a different perspective. I needed me.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't matter if they were white or black or Mexican. I needed somebody that could fill my cup.
Yeah.
And I had to make room.
Mm.
Because so often we keep the wrong people around us, not realizing they're not doing anything for us.
Mm. Did you grieve the people that you released?
No.
Mm.
because I was doing the giving.
So you had
So I
you
can't-
already been grieving. You've been grieving.
I've been grieving. So
That's
and
good.
when you realize that the people that are there aren't doing anything for me, why are you here?
How do you go about releasing? And I'm asking you this because you're a little older than me. You got more sense than me. How did you go about releasing those people when you realized they didn't understand that friendship is actually a verb, friend is a verb, and friendship is a service?
They release themselves.
Oh, that's it, friend. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because what you realize is I'm the one that's doing the reaching. I'm the one that's doing the calling. And when they call me, it's to go to the club. I'm good. You want to go to church on Sunday? Let's go out to grab about to eat. Let's come over and have a sister circle. That's not what they wanted to do. They released themselves. Because when you're no longer serving their agenda, they'll release themselves.
I want to talk to you about this. I just wrote down. I just recently wrote down association is currency. People will associate themselves with you so that it appears that they're on the same level, they're on the same wavelength, they have the same kind of money, they have the same kind of flair, success, moves, or whatever. Whole time they not. They just associating themselves with you so that it can have you experienced that?
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like you have.
I have.
Can you speak to that?
I can.
How did you disassociate those people who were trying to associate themselves with you for currency?
You have to open your eyes. And one of the things that I've oftentimes, God has always given me a great gift of discernment. But are we listening? Are we paying attention? You know, and that was what was so happening so often in my life. I was called to tables, into places and spaces. And one of these particular places that I was called to, it was only because of my title. And when I was introduced by my title. My name is Kenya Parks, though. And I realized I'm only here because of that.
This episode is great, right, friend? I know. Join me for more episodes just like this one in my Patreon community. That's patreon.com/yourfriendtrend. I cannot wait to connect with you in real time.
And that's the reason she invited me there, and I thought it was a friend.
What you do, not who you are.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You know, I'm more than my title. And I say that so often. So many times when I walk into spaces, I don't even tell people what I do. I don't even tell people where I live. When you say you live in Madison, people begin to think, oh.
You're right. You're right.
You know? But what I had to learn, and coming from nothing, when I say nothing, coming from nothing.
Yeah.
My mother having me at 16, my great-grandmother giving us her home. We had a bathroom, but it wasn't operable. So when you use the bathroom in a bucket and you throw it out the back door, that's a different type of struggle that you go through in your life. But I thank God for that struggle, because everything that I have and where I am right now, people see these material things, but they mean nothing.
Yeah.
Because God could take it all away tomorrow. I'd go to McDonald's and work if I had to. It doesn't mean anything. People don't understand what I had to go through to get to where I am. I bought my first home at 40 because I had to go through to get there. I make it look good. And I'll tell people that all the time, but you have no clue how many sleepless nights, how many times my son and I ate Vienna sausage and noodles to get to the point of where we are now. I thank God for the steak and the lobster now. And I'm not too good for the noodles because I got some in my cabinet. But at the same time, for what we went through to get to where we are. But I thank God for my gift of discernment and allowing me to see people for who they are. And baby, this mouthpiece of mine, I'm not afraid to call it out.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm not afraid to call it out. And so often, because we want to have those attachments, we are afraid to call them out. We are afraid to say something.
We're afraid of losing them.
We're afraid of losing them. But when I lose, I'm making room for what God wants in my life to be there.
Which to me it makes it not feel like a loss.
It's not a loss.
It's like I make like when we clean our closets out and the seasons change.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're making room for the right things now.
Exactly.
I looked in my closet this morning and I have like this whole slew of Friend Fusion clothes I wore one time. It got tags on and all this stuff, and I feel some kind of way about wearing it. I'm like, you know what? These my clothes, and I'm still going to make room because I'm in a season now where I don't actually need this coat.
Yes.
And I you know, I'm getting a revelation, Kenya. Sometimes too, it ain't even necessarily that people are bad people or a bad connection
No.
for you. This is not the season
For
you to be just engaged in such a connection.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Doesn't mean that they necessarily a bad move for you, but like in this season, I need to tap in. And this friend always want to be on the go in people's face at the club or whatever. In this season, I need to be locked in. And so if you're not the friend that I can be at the coffee shop to bounce these ideas off, and you may not, proximity gonna change. I was just telling a friend recently. I know people watching gonna be like, what are you talking about? Are we talking about this circle, right?
Yes.
I have such great friends. I used to have raggedy friends. I think that was also a result of me being a raggedy friend.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be honest, right?
Yes.
But when I became a better friend, God gave me better friends.
Yes.
And so that being said, I was sharing with my friend Pia and Brandon. I said, yo, I don't even know. Like, I know who my best friends are. I have people who I'm closer to than others, but God has been so faithful to me with my inner circle of people. At any given moment, anybody can be a best friend.
Yes.
Because nobody serves me in some capacity that another doesn't. I don't have a friend who shows up more than another person or will serve me in a way. I don't have a friend like that. So making room for the right friends has just been amazing. Releasing people who I know I can't call, rely, or depend on has given me a circle of people, Kenya, where I just be looking around like, there's nothing I can call Sarah for that even if she can't do it, she probably gonna try to figure out a way to do it. So all my friends are literally best friends. And I'm so grateful to be to that point because it was 2-3 years ago, I was crying about friendship. But now the Lord has blessed me where I've gotten the confidence to release people without the guilt of releasing them. It like really truly embracing the fact that I got room now for the right people, and now having the right people, everybody my best friend. Now that can make some people feel some kind of way, but when you make room for the right people, you literally get to experience what it is to have God's love lavished on you every single day. Yes. All day. And I'm so serious.
Listen to me. We talked about this, but I've lost 117 pounds. And I started that journey about 5 years ago with my personal trainer.
Yeah.
My personal trainer is probably one of my closest friends. And when I started this journey, I was over 300 pounds.
Yeah.
And he walked the walk with me.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is breakfast, lunch, and dinner, the calls in between, in every aspect. I mean, we wrote a book together about the journey.
Yeah.
And I mean, and it was just so many different things. But when we allow, for me, for so long that I had trust issues. I had trust issues with people. But when we allow people to love us and meet us where we are, I had to learn how to do that.
Yeah.
I had to learn how to allow people to love me and meet me at the point of my life of where I was. And you said a mouthful when you said that, like, having those people in your life and in your circle, but you not being a good friend. And there was a point in my life that I can sit here and say the same thing, that I wasn't a good friend.
Yeah.
But and it was because I wasn't a good person to me either. I didn't know how to love me.
Yeah.
I didn't see myself worthy of that. But when those tables turn, I think when we go through those different seasons, God allowed everything within those seasons to change.
Yeah.
We just have to be paying attention to the change as it happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what I started to do, was be more in tune with the change in every aspect of my life.
Because if we're not, right now it's 90 degrees outside and we'll be having on a coat.
Yes.
And we supposed to be having on shorts. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Absolutely.
And the right friends, they're growing with you.
Exactly.
So you don't have to leave them behind.
Mm-hmm.
They're growing with you.
Yeah.
When I met my coach 5 years
Not
ago,
resenting you for
who
growing.
you are becoming,
Uh-huh.
they're celebrating you.
Uh-huh.
They're clapping
Yeah.
with you along the way
Yeah.
instead of looking at you through these
Why you
envious.
keep watering your garden? Every time I turn around, some of your garden blossoming. If you had some blossom in your garden,
I will be watering it as well.
exactly. But the thing is, we connect ourselves to a lot of people, Kenya, who ain't never holding a water hose. So they mad to see you with one. You know, you get what I'm saying?
Yes.
If your growth intimidates somebody, it's because they're not growing with you.
They're not growing with
People
you.
who in their own garden ain't mad about your garden growing because they garden flourishing too.
And they're not. I had a person the other day. I'm about to publish my second children's book.
Congratulations.
Thank you. You finna publish another book?
See? They always show their head, baby.
Yes, I'm about to publish another book this summer, and I'm publishing a children's book about Christmas in December. So get ready for that one as well.
Period.
I had to learn how to celebrate myself because what I did was when people would make comments like that, I would dumb myself down. But what I stand in the confidence because I know I'm doing what God has called me to do. So I don't dumb myself down anymore.
Yeah.
I speak with authority in what I say and what I'm doing and where I am in this season of my life. I don't feel like I have to dumb myself down. When I got promoted at work, I wouldn't even say my title because I didn't want to make anybody else feel any type of way about it.
Yeah.
You know?
And now it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yes.
When God would bless me and accomplishments would happen in my life, I wouldn't even speak about them because I didn't want to make people feel.
You didn't want to offend people.
I didn't want to offend people. But I'm offending me.
Exactly.
Because
and God.
Yes.
Yeah.
So why can you? So I celebrate everything. I was a person that didn't celebrate birthdays, but God, you blessed me to see another year.
Yeah.
So guess what I'm going to do?
Right.
I'm going to celebrate.
I love it.
I'm going to celebrate.
I love it.
No matter how small, how big, whatever I choose to do, I'm going to do it because why not?
Yeah. Yeah.
And the people that don't understand and the people that get offended, it's okay.
Okay, so we've talked about a lot of things. We
have
have layers now, like layers.
Yes.
But I don't want to leave Friend Fusion without talking about forgiveness. Forgiveness of the family member who assaulted you. Forgiveness of the aunt who said don't tell anybody. Forgiveness of the people who resent your growth. The forgiveness of the people who feel some kind of way to see you walking in your freedom because they feel that you walking in your freedom is resentment toward them and not freedom for you. What has your process of forgiveness been like?
I had to learn that I used to think that when I forgave a person, I was doing them a favor. And I had to learn that forgiveness was for me. It was freeing for me. I'm forgiving you because I have to. I'm charged to forgive you. You know, and in forgiving, it's a release. It's a freedom that comes with being able to forgive someone. But we have to understand that there's layers to forgiveness because I forgive you doesn't mean I still have to be friends with you. Doesn't mean that I still have to do life with you. I forgave you. You're my uncle by title. I don't have to see you, but I'm going to pray for you. I'm going to pray that you never touch another child. I'm going to pray for your children. I'm going to pray for everything that's attached to you. And I'm going to love you from a distance because you showed me how much you loved me. I forgive you, but I don't have to be around you. Even with my aunt, I love her. I thank God for her. I thank God for everything she's ever done for me in my life, for her babysitting when my mom had to work, for everything that she's ever done, for when my father wanted to go out and do whatever, she was right there. So even in that moment when she chose to protect her brother and not protect me, did she know? You know? And I had to think about these things in so many different ways. Why did she choose him and not me? Why did she make me feel that way?
Did she experience that?
Did she experience that? Did she go through something?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's so many layers. There's so many, like, issues under the tissue that we don't even talk about or that people don't begin to think about. So I can't hate her. I don't hate her.
Yeah.
We've had conversation. She texted me this past Mother's Day, Happy Mother's Day, Kenya. And I text her back. There's no issue. But is she the person that I pick up the phone and call and say, hey, how you
Right.
doing? No, I don't.
I want to speak to that too, because sometimes people in our families and close friends, when something traumatic happens by their hand, they can sometimes feel like the lack of relationship, the distance they have with us is something that we're holding on to, or what. You literally remove yourself from the possibility of having that type of connection with me. It's not even me saying I don't want you in my life, I'm done with you, but there are some offenses that you can make that removes you from being the mama that you could be, from being the auntie you could be, from being a friend that you could be. And everybody ain't carrying the offense or the resentment toward you, but you literally, that decision you made excluded you from having that type of depth with me.
It did.
Yeah.
It did. And you made me think, my father had a stroke on my birthday. And my father was rushed from the Delta here to UMC. And my father was in the hospital in ICU for months. And my father and his sister were really close. And for months, she didn't come and see my father. And I called my uncle, another uncle, and I said, will you please get her here to see Dad? My dad was on a ventilator, and they told us that he wouldn't make it. And I said, he probably needs to hear her voice because he loved his sister.
Right.
And
I think she was afraid to see you.
I think so. But she came and she visited my father. I got to see her. And I drove away from UMC with tears in my eyes. And I remember before my father had his stroke, my dad said, Kenny, I need you to fix that relationship. I said, why? Why am I the one that has to fix that relationship? And he said, Kenny, I need you to do it for me. She's not. She's too stubborn. She said, but I know my daughter. I know my baby. That's what my dad said. And as I drove off UMC's lot, I made a U-turn and I came back, and she was standing at the end of the little driveway where you pick people up. And I parked right there and I got out of the car. And I went up to her with tears in my eyes and I said, I forgive you. I forgive you. And she hugged me and she cried. But I did that for my father because I needed her to know that, no, I'm not carrying any resentment towards you. I love you, but I forgive you because I don't want you to walk away from here today and make a decision not to come and see my father because you're afraid that you're going to run into me and have to face something.
So it wasn't, that's good. Sometimes forgiveness ain't even about being released for yourself, but allowing other people to be released
To
from it.
release, yes.
To forgive themselves.
Yes.
You forgiving them may help them to forgive themselves.
Yes.
That's powerful.
Yes. And there were days after that she texted me or whatever, but I needed, my father was laying in that bed, and I'll never forget the doctor walking in the room and telling us, my sister, my brother, and his wife, that, you know, your dad is not going to come out of this. They even brought the people that you have to talk to see how you're going to handle the next steps and all of these different things. And I was just so upset in that moment. And I remember crying out to the doctor, like, who are you? You're not God. And my father is still alive to this day.
That's it.
They said that he would never get his brain activity back, that, you know, he wouldn't know who we were. And this past weekend, I walked into my father's house, and to see the glow on his face, to see his baby walk in the room. I mean, he was almost literally speechless, and it made tears come from my eyes. But, you know, I had to forgive her openly. I had to do it for my father. I did it for my father, but I did it for me. I had done it for me so many years ago. But my father said, I need you to fix this relationship because she's not going to do it. But I released her from everything and all of that. I'm 43. I'm thriving. You know, I think we go on an ongoing journey of healing. So am I completely healed? No, because in conversation like this, it brings up things that I've never had to talk about or I've never thought to deal with.
Yeah.
So I think my journey of healing is ongoing, but I don't have to hold that pain, that part of the pain anymore.
Yeah.
I don't have to carry that with me. You know, so I think for so long, I operated in the mindset of that 8-year-old little girl because I never healed her. And to heal her and to see her and to acknowledge her was so powerful for me because for so many years, I just pushed her. I left her back there and I went on with my life as though what happened to her, it didn't happen. I never spoke about it. I never did anything. And I left her back there. I had to revisit that pain. I had to go back and get her. I had to heal her so that I could become the woman God had called me to be.
You said that you finally told everybody 10 years later, so you were 18.
Yes, I was in college.
I don't know about the limit of, I don't know anything about crime, actually. Was it too late to report him to law, or is it a decision that your family decided you guys would pursue, or?
You know, when you look at a person's life and where they are,
They've already been, okay.
and they've already been to hell,
Understand.
there is nothing more that I could do to you. So putting you in jail for what you've done, what you did to me, you're already in there.
Understood.
And in that moment, it's 10 years later. Do I hurt my father any worse than I've already hurt my father? Because I carried such resentment toward my father because I thought my father knew. So the relationship that my father and I should have had, we didn't have.
Got you.
For over 10 years because why didn't you do anything? Why
You
didn't
never
you
knew.
protect me? Why didn't you defend me? Why didn't you come back that night? There were so many things that went through my head. So my father and our relationship was estranged because I thought he knew. But when my dad found out, when I found out over 10 years later that my dad knew nothing, I broke all over again. To see my dad break down to his knees crying, baby, why couldn't you talk to me? I thought his sister had told him. I thought maybe her husband had told. You don't know what, I'm a child.
Yeah.
So how do you process all of this? I grew up making,
You don't even know how to.
you don't know how to process it. So you grow up making these
Assumptions.
and I was 8.
Yeah.
I still had to see him. I had to do life with him. Every time my father picked us up, I had to be around him. I told my sister this story and she was like, I don't even remember, but she was so young. But I just never forget being at my aunt's house and my uncle grabbing my sister. And I don't know what he was doing, but I just saw the fact that she was on his lap and I grabbed her. You know, no, you may have hurt me, but you won't hurt my sister. You know, and I told my sister this years later. I actually just told her this a couple months ago when I did the thing with Nico because it came out when I did the videos, it came out all over again. But sharing that with my sister, but I still had to do life with him. I still saw him. It wasn't until I went off to college that he was no longer a part of my life, of my world anymore.
So you've overcome and you're still healing and you've become this amazingly successful woman. Kenya doesn't like to talk about it, but Kenya is the CEO of Primo's. That's a very popular restaurant here in Mississippi. How many locations?
3.
3 locations. And so many people, I don't know anybody who would say anything bad about you. I mean, you're just one of those people. If somebody says something bad about you, you know they got the problem. Like, you know they have the problem. And a lot of times when it comes to individuals like yourself, it's easy for people to love you, but it's also easy for people to misunderstand you.
Yes.
And with that being said, I want you to speak to the parents, and I know this could be sensitive. So let me preface it with this. I honor your journey. What is your advice to parents who may be watching before we go today, who are very trusting of siblings and additional family members around their children?
I had a friend reach out to me a month ago, and she found out her daughter was being sexually assaulted by her cousin. The cousin was in high school, and her daughter was in middle school. And it was happening at the grandmother's house. He was just curious. He was a child that's watching movies on TV, that's listening to the music, and he was curious. Whether it's a boy or whether it's a girl, you trust no one. So often growing up with my son, and I have one child, so many times I heard people say, y'all think he more than everybody else. Why can't he spend the night over here? But they didn't know my story and what had happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
But I refused to allow what happened to me to happen to my son. Nobody was going to destroy my son. So when I tell you that you protect your children, whether it's a boy or whether it's a girl, you protect them with everything in you.
A brother,
A
or
brother,
sister,
a sister, a
a
friend,
papa, or Mimi,
regardless
or
of who it is.
Mhm.
And I'm not telling you not to trust anyone,
Yeah.
but what I am telling you is sometimes kids make mistakes with other children,
Mm-hmm.
not because they're trying to rape them or they're doing this and they don't realize that they're doing something wrong, just because
They're curious.
they're curious. In my journey of speaking and telling my story, so many people have come to me with so many things, and there's so much that I can share. But it's oftentimes the overprotective parents that let their guard down
Mm.
and realize that, but she was at her grandmother's house. She was at her aunt's house. They were down in the basement and we were upstairs, not realizing that it only takes a moment.
Mm-hmm.
My aunt misplaced me for 15 minutes. And what she didn't know was those 15 minutes changed the entire trajectory of my life.
Mm.
It could have destroyed me,
Yeah.
but God saw different. So to that mother, to that father, when God entrusts you with his children, you protect them the way God protect you.
Mm-hmm.
You ask questions. You have the conversations. You are the mother, you are the father, you're not the friend. But you still have to have room that I feel like I can come and speak to you
Mm-hmm.
and share with you. So many times, parents don't leave the door open
Mm-hmm.
for their children to
Maybe it
have
should
the
be, I'm
hard
not your
conversation.
friend. Maybe it should be, I'm not your friend, I'm your best friend. So you can tell me anything.
You can tell me anything.
Yeah.
We have to change the way we do things. My mother told me one time, she said, Kenya, the way you're doing things with Jabari is not going to work.
Mm.
But she didn't know, Mama, what you did wasn't wrong. You did what you knew.
Mm-hmm.
But I got to try something different over here. This is my turn. And did I get it right? No, but I took some of what you taught me, Mom. But I put it together with what I learned along the way. And I didn't get it all right because there were times my son strayed.
Mm-hmm.
But when I look at the young man God has that I have right now, 21 years old, want to go into youth ministry, I think I got something right.
Mm-hmm.
So I think so often what parents do is we close the door where we need to leave that door open.
Mm.
We got to let them be able to talk to us. We have to be able to leave that line of communication open. I'm not going to say don't trust anyone, but be cautious of all things.
Yeah. That's good. Thank you so much, Kenya, for coming to Friend Fusion.
Thank you for having me.
Your testimony is one of resilience, it's healing, it's transformative, and it's powerful. And it is my prayer that everybody watching, whether you've been sexually assaulted or not, takes a gem from you, because you've given us so many, from the relationships you've had to honoring when a relationship doesn't work for you, even if it's a good person, to forgiveness and understanding that it can't hurt you to forgive anybody. It can only free you. So many lessons that you've given us. And once again, I just want to say thank you. Is there anything you would like to leave with our viewers?
We've talked about so much here today. But if I could leave anything with you today, what I would say is sometimes we have to make room for the things we want, desire, and need in our lives. We oftentimes pray to God for all of these things, but we haven't made room for the things that we're asking God for.
Mm.
And what I had to learn in my life was that when I made room for what I wanted, God made provision and made them happen. So often we don't have what we want or what we need because we haven't made room for it.
That's good. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Friend, I hope you have enjoyed this episode of Friend Fusion. I feel so full right now. I just feel so thankful. I feel so grateful. And I'm thankful for you, friend. I'm thankful for even your experiences, the things that you've endured. And if you're a person who has experienced sexual assault, it is my prayer that God gives you the ability to forgive, release, and the ability to be resilient and get to the other side of it. I know that sometimes it feels like it's so far away, the pain that you carry, the feeling misunderstood, the misconception that everybody has about you. But Kenya is a testimony and proof that God will be with you, and God is already ahead of you, making your crooked path straight. So don't worry about what people are saying, what they feel, how they think, what they do. At the end of the day, God wants to free you. I'll see you back on the next episode of Friend Fusion. Bye, friend.
Friend Fusion. Friend Fusion.